A woman of charm, intelligence, and political acumen, Cleopatra was born in 69 BC into the intrigue and opportunity of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. A lineage steeped in power and prestige, the Ptolemaic dynasty was not for the faint-hearted. Cleopatra was no exception. Born as the daughter of Pharaoh Ptolemy I, she was enveloped in the grandeur and often the turbulence of royal life from her earliest breath. She was not merely a spectator to the political machinations and elaborate court rituals. Instead, she was an active participant, learning and absorbing the ways of royal governance. Growing up in the royal court presented Cleopatra with a world of knowledge, from the ancient wisdom of the Egyptian priests to the tactical insights of the court advisors. She was privy to it all. She was not just a princess, she was a student, preparing for the day she would ascend to the throne. From her earliest days, Cleopatra was groomed for power, and she would not disappoint. At the tender age of 18, Cleopatra ascended to the throne of Egypt, sharing power with her 10-year-old brother, Ptolemy I. The siblings were thrust into a world of political intrigue and perilous power plays, a world where alliances were as fickle as the desert sands. The early years of Cleopatra's reign were marked by a volatile mix of political turmoil and familial discord. Egypt, once a formidable empire, was grappling with internal strife and the encroaching threat of the mighty Roman Empire. The young queen and her brother found themselves at the helm of a kingdom on the brink of chaos. Cleopatra, however, was not your average monarch. She was a woman of exceptional intelligence and charisma, fluent in several languages, and well-versed in politics, economics, and military strategy. She was determined to restore Egypt to its former glory, but her path to power was fraught with obstacles. One of the most significant challenges she faced was the shared rule with her brother Ptolemy. Their co-regency was anything but harmonious. Ptolemy, under the influence of his advisors, sought to consolidate power by marginalizing Cleopatra. The tension between the royal siblings escalated, culminating in a civil war that led to Cleopatra's brief exile from Egypt. But Cleopatra was not one to be sidelined. Forced to flee her homeland, she bided her time, gathering resources and allies. The young queen was far from defeated. She was merely lying in wait, ready to seize the opportune moment to reclaim her throne. In fact, this exile would prove to be a turning point in Cleopatra's life. It was during this period that she forged the alliances that would define her reign and reshape the political landscape of the ancient world. It was here in the wilderness that the Queen of Egypt transformed into a queen of destiny. But Cleopatra was not one to be sidelined, and her exile was merely the first act of a dramatic life. In 48 BC, Cleopatra would make a daring move, seeking an alliance with the most powerful man in Rome, Julius Caesar. This was the beginning of an era that would change the course of history. Cleopatra, a woman of intelligence and charm, knew that an alliance with Rome, the superpower of the time, was crucial to maintain her authority in Egypt. Caesar, on the other hand, was drawn to Cleopatra's ambition, intelligence, and of course, her wealth. Together, they formed a bond that was as much about political convenience as it was about personal attraction. Upon meeting Caesar, Cleopatra saw an opportunity to regain her throne, and she seized it. She smuggled herself into his palace, wrapped in a carpet, to avoid detection. It was a bold move, but it paid off. Caesar was captivated by her audacity and her intellect. He agreed to help her reclaim her throne from her brother, Ptolemy I. With Caesar's support, Cleopatra returned to power in Egypt. But their alliance was more than just political. They became lovers, and in 47 BC, Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Caesarion, meaning Little Caesar. Although Caesar never officially acknowledged Caesarion as his son, Cleopatra proclaimed him to be Caesar's heir. Their alliance brought a period of stability and prosperity to Egypt. Cleopatra, with Caesar by her side, embarked on ambitious projects, building magnificent temples and promoting the arts and sciences. However, their alliance was not without its challenges. In Rome, Caesar's relationship with Cleopatra was causing a scandal. His decision to bring Cleopatra to Rome and his apparent acceptance of Caesarion as his son were seen as a direct challenge to Roman tradition. This tension culminated in Caesar's assassination in 44 BC. With Caesar's assassination in 44 BC, Cleopatra lost a powerful ally, but she was far from finished. Despite this setback, Cleopatra was not one to be easily defeated. She had survived exile and regained her throne. She had navigated the treacherous world of Roman politics and won the heart of the most powerful man in Rome. She was a survivor, and she would continue to fight for her throne and her son. In 41 BC, Cleopatra would enthrall another Roman, Mark Antony, in a love story that would become legendary. This tale of passion and politics begins when Cleopatra and Mark Antony, both charismatic and commanding, found themselves drawn to each other. Their connection was immediate and intense, a relationship that was not just about love, but also about survival and power. They formed a political alliance that was as strategic as it was romantic. Cleopatra needed the support of Rome to secure her throne, while Antony, co-ruler of the Roman Empire, sought the wealth of Egypt to fund his military campaigns. Together, they envisioned a world where Egypt and Rome could coexist in harmony, a dream they believed was within their grasp. The bond between Cleopatra and Antony was further cemented with the birth of their children. Cleopatra bore Antony 3 children, the twins Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, and their younger brother Ptolemy Philadelphus. These children were symbols of their parents' ambition, a new generation that would rule over a united Roman-Egyptian empire. But their dream would soon face a formidable challenge. Octavian, Antony's political rival in Rome, was not fond of this foreign queen influencing Roman affairs. He declared war on Cleopatra, and by extension, Antony. This was more than a battle over territories. It was a war that threatened to shatter the world Cleopatra and Antony had dreamed of building together. Despite their efforts, the forces of Octavian proved too powerful. Antony, believing a false report of Cleopatra's death, fell on his sword. Cleopatra, upon hearing of Antony's demise, was stricken with grief. Their love story, however, was destined for a tragic end. Cleopatra and Antony's tale is one of passion and power, a story that has withstood the test of time. Theirs was a love that shaped the course of history, a testament to their enduring influence and the indelible mark they left on the world. In 30 BC, following a defeat at the Battle of Actium, Cleopatra and Mark Antony met their tragic end. This marked the conclusion of a tumultuous and storied era, which, in many ways, has left a lasting imprint on the annals of history. Cleopatra and Mark Antony, both castigated and cornered, sought refuge in their palace in Alexandria. The Roman Octavian, fearing the potential resurgence of their combined power, was hot on their heels. The narrative of their end is shrouded in mystery, a fitting testament to the enigmatic lives they led. Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, was said to have taken her own life, supposedly by the venomous bite of an asp, a symbol of divine royalty. Mark Antony, misinformed of Cleopatra's death, fell on his own sword, only to learn of the tragic misunderstanding in his dying moments. Their demise was not merely the end of 2 influential figures, but it also signified the end of an era. Egypt, a civilization that had stood strong for thousands of years, found itself under the shadow of Rome. The demise of Cleopatra marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty, and with it, the last pharaoh of Egypt. The land of the Nile, once a beacon of grandeur and magnificence, was reduced to a Roman province. The culture, the traditions, and the autonomy that had defined Egypt for millennia were gradually subsumed under the expanding Roman Empire. The once mighty pharaohs were no more, their power and prestige replaced by Roman governors. Cleopatra's death had far-reaching consequences. It marked a pivotal point in the power dynamics of the ancient world, spelling the end of the Hellenistic period and ushering in the era of Roman domination. The world had lost a queen, a lover, a mother, and a formidable leader. But her story, her charisma, and her influence continue to echo through time, forever etched in the annals of history. With her death, Cleopatra ended not only her own reign, but also the era of the pharaohs in Egypt. Cleopatra's legacy is one of power, charm, and political acumen that transcends time and continues to captivate us today. Her influence shaped the course of history, and her story has been etched into the annals of time. She was a woman of extraordinary intellect, a polyglot who spoke a dozen languages, and a shrewd politician who knew how to navigate the treacherous waters of power. She was an emblem of strength and resilience, a beacon of femininity in a world dominated by men. Her reign was not just about power, but also about cultural synthesis and intellectual enlightenment. She was a patron of the arts and sciences, and under her rule, Alexandria became a thriving hub of learning and innovation. Her story is a testament to the indomitable spirit of women and the power of determination. Despite her tragic end, her legacy lives on, inspiring countless generations. Cleopatra remains a powerful symbol of female power, a woman who defied convention and forged her own path in a world dominated by men.